Alright, so hey everyone, let's talk about something important today. Let's talk about Yoru's plans and who he actually is. If you want more Valorant content and specifically lore, be sure to subscribe to me as that would help you out a lot. But to take it into perspective, Yoru, as we thought, is not an ancient frozen samurai from Icebox. He's actually someone that came from Tokyo, which is in Split. Now that Valorant has teased us with such information, it's so important to know this. Honestly, now we can finally find out more about the Valorant agents and storyline. Everyone thought that Yoru was an ancient samurai looking to escape Icebox after being studied, but it seems like it's more simple than this. I am guessing that Yoru was born in a peaceful town of Tokyo, and Tokyo was a great starting place for him. He started to know a lot about Split and how Kingdom works. Now Kingdom has multiple locations. It has locations on Icebox, it has locations in Japan, and it's really important to note here that Icebox is a very interesting place. Such place that was established after the Icebox ship shipwreck. Now the shipwreck was something very important, and what I'm guessing is an old samurai died in there. Yes, died and was simply frozen in time. That is a most likely theory, and well, Icebox noticed that, and it could definitely be possible that Radianite was connected with this single ship. What's very important to know here is that such a samurai mask was probably found in the shipwreck, going from an Edo period, a very old period known for those military factions and wars. What's really important to note here that this period is actually when this mask was created. What's very important to note here is that Valorant is specifically saying that Yoru is trying to return this mask, not keep it for himself. But what's very important to note here is what is on this mask that's so important. So that's why I decided to deeply analyze this mask and tell you if there's anything suspicious about it. Before I start about the mask, let's look at the Edo period. The Edo period was famously known for having commanders which were loyal to the main ruler, and this ruler had huge potential and a lot of power. And it's definitely possible that Yoru was or is somehow connected to such a leader and has to follow him in that sense. You can definitely see he's actually connected to what we are seeing. The mask actually makes a lot of sense as it's shown in not only in Battle Pass, not only on his face basically, but also teased as a player card. It makes a lot of sense where it's teased everywhere that it has to have some connection. What's really interesting is this mask has some special abilities that actually give Yoru its powers. Yoru without the mask is almost useless. Well, in the game he can use the mask, however in the lore I am not sure if the mask helps him or not to obtain his abilities. What you can see, if Yoru uses such a mask, he can actually do a simple thing. He do not travel through dimensions. He can see through the dimensions and possibly act as them. This could mean potentially that Yoru uses his mask for a certain ability. So for example, escaping Icebox, and that's definitely possible. So now that we know this mask is something that he can grab out of the rift and can do that beforehand. I'm not sure if the animation has any lore, but looking deeply at it, it could definitely be so. What we can see though is when he uses his ability, he opens some kind of rift. A rift that is really unknown where is it's located. But you can see the mask is actually something that contains the rift, and while he equips this mask, he gains his abilities and can traverse dimensions, or well, actually he can see through dimensions. What really annoys me though is they never emphasized the Edo period and how Yoru is connected to this. Why does the mask emit a blue light? It makes no sense. One thing we know for sure, Yoru is deeply connected with Icebox, and while being born on Split, it never tells us how his childhood was like on Split. Was he an orphan? Was he a Radianite agent from the start? But I think it's something that Valorant Kingdom did, perhaps taking everything from his family, either be that perhaps infesting him with superpower abilities he did not want, and that could possibly mean that Yoru wants simple revenge against Kingdom. So here is my simple theory. Let's say he took the Icebox mask, and what happens next? Well, he returns, as we see from these pictures, through Siberia to these simple locations we do not know yet. We're highly suspecting it's somewhere in Turkey, but you can see he actually did cause some sort of a surprise against the Valorant Kingdom and all the news reporters that has something huge to reveal. Now that we have that in mind, we know that Yoru was not the original owner of the mask and might have been taken from Kingdom. And Kingdom was researching this mask for some purposes, for example, seeing how it performs under Radianite, seeing what history it has. That we will find out later on. Right now, we have some basic idea on what Yoru actually is. So now that Yoru has this mask in his hands and away from Kingdom, how is it connected? This mask has to be returned to a rightful owner in the Edo period, and it could be very possible that Yoru is also a time traveler. Although we don't have any confirmation on that yet, the Edo period is a very important lore for Yoru. One theory I had is that in fact Yoru could be actually cursed and his abilities are basically a bad thing, so he either has to return it to a rightful owner, an old ancestor in the Edo period, with the help of Valorant Protocol. Of course he had to do it alone, otherwise he could simply return it. Could it be that this ancestor is actually hidden somewhere in a Kingdom facility, somewhere in a Kingdom location? I think this is a very good possibility. By returning this, he either gets a great honor or he gets to remove his curse. Those both options are viable, and I am definitely sure we will know more. For now, this is all we have found about Yoru, but I definitely think there is more interesting facts about him nobody has ever talked. If you want more Valorant content, be sure to subscribe because I will definitely take a deeper look on this.